Right, welcome to the Compliance Weekly for the 25th of April. Since I've been away the last couple of weeks, Huzaifa, do you want to take us through what's happening?
Sure.
Thank you.
I can walk through the milestone board. Let me start by sharing my screen first. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Good. So let's start off with the closed issues first. We added a new audit event, include MR deletion in streaming logs.
So this was basically already present in our code base.
Okay, nice. I guess Jihu contributed to this, right? Probably.
I didn't check that.
Okay. The next issue is don't create API release audit events when there is no change.
So this is one of those issues where we just need to verify if audit events are not getting created duplicates, are not duplicates. So basically I just checked that and it was not happening. So I closed it.
Then we don't have anything in verification. We have a couple of things in review if anyone wants to talk about anything which is blocked or.
There's a lot in review there. Well done.
Yes. Nope, then move to workflow in dev. Anything, any concerns? We have a couple of in ready for development and planning breakdown. I guess since it's the first week of the milestone, most of the things are either in review or in dev.
Yeah, there was one that I wanted to ask about. I did ping you, Huzaifa, it's in solution validation.
Pinged on Slack?
No, so the compliance framework
okay.
not found or access denied. It was severity 2 bug in solution validation. I think it's down the bottom of that list. Yeah, so just wondering if anyone else had any ideas on this. It's sort of, since it's come up, I created the issue 2 weeks ago, and since I created it, there's been a lot of customer activity on it.
I didn't have a chance to actually take a look at this one. I saw your ping yesterday, but I was still busy with the adherence report, so I didn't take a look at this one. If you want, I can take a look at this today.
Yeah, it'd be great to just get a bit of feedback for it's had a lot of customer activity, and I know product are getting a few questions on it as well.
Okay, I'll take a look at this today then.
Thank you.
There was also another one where you pinged me. This one, this is a separate, like it's a feature thing, not a bug. I guess this is just something that we need to do in this milestone, not on the highest priority, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah, it's
unlike the previous one.
Often, yeah, the other one was just something that we want to get a bit of feedback to the customer earlier than possible, if possible.
Cool, I'll definitely take a look. Nope, I don't have anything else.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Camelia if there's any questions from the design stuff.
I think the
view project with no CI/CD. So I mean this one. This one is not good for design yet. I'm still working on it. So I think there are some discussion about like which direction we are taking about to manage it, and there are some more things need to be done based on the discussion. I think I need to still go through the last comment and talk about it. Anyway, like no matter which direction we go, we still need a research, like solution validation research on this. So hopefully the solution validation will be done this milestone, but depends on the discussion, it might push to next milestone.
Okay, thanks. It's just good to keep in mind for if we're going to start on it next milestone.
Sorry, what?
Sorry, it's just good to know that so that we're clear on whether we're going to begin any engineering effort in the next milestone.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Then I think we have a point. I'd like to discuss this one. Oh yes, for this we had a pretty lengthy discussion, I guess. I can just give the gist. So we have the compliance frameworks report. We want the feature where we filter the projects by some, like we filter something, the projects by, let's just go to, so for example, if you just filter by compliance framework is HIPAA, just then we need to apply a bulk framework here. For example, if we don't have a framework, we get a lot of projects. So on the first page, we just see like 20 projects or like maybe 100 items, but not more than that. But in reality, it could be more than 100, this list. So what we need is we should have an option to select everything, like including all the items that are on the next page as well, which are not shown on the front end, and choose a bulk action and then apply the bulk action there. So the issue there here is that front end doesn't know a lot of things because we're still not displaying the project on that, like the information on that particular page. So we need a way for the front end to actually issue maybe a GraphQL query or anything if anyone has any other ideas, where we have a GraphQL mutation which sends a request to the backend with the applied filter, like all the projects that doesn't have a framework, and do some action, like action as in like apply this particular HIPAA framework to all of them. So right now we just have limitation to select only the projects that are there on the current page, but we want to expand that, expand the ability to apply the compliance framework to all the projects matching the filters. So we need a GraphQL mutation for that. And the other thing for that is, like, even if front end issues a mutation where they give us the matching filter and the bulk action, it's easy at the backend to apply that action. But then we also need a feature to actually undo that functionality. So there also needs to be an undo button, which will do the exact opposite of the thing that happened initially. So it's not a typical GraphQL mutation that we expect or we have usually. It'll be some other like some other custom-made mutation or a return type. For example, Ilya, something like this. So,
Actually, I'm like working on this issue in terms of providing my suggestions. We probably will need to refactor our current query a bit, or at least to think about it, because it would be great to have a single filter type describing actually filters type, so we could reuse it both for querying the projects and using this mutation, which is applies filters, because otherwise it will be a big pain to keep them in sync and it will be a potential source of errors. So it would be what I was like researching is that how we could, without breaking stuff, because it is GraphQL, it is not versioned, to introduce filters which will have a separate type on our schema and to reuse it on this newly proposed mutation and our projects get compliance frameworks query, which is already exists, because right now on the get project it is just a number of fields, and otherwise we just will need to like copy and paste these fields both for get and for mutations, which is like quite problematic.
Would it be possible, like if we move out from GraphQL to a REST API, which is just an
It will be the same problem, like keeping things consistent. Like we will need to able to query something which has filters and to apply mutation to something based on the same set of filters. So making sure that we are handling filters identically in both cases, it's a good bet in terms of reliability.
What I'm just proposing is, like, if we have a REST API, like a post request where we send the payload as like a filter, which is a hash, you provide the filter, and then the action is also a hash where you say like apply or remove the compliance framework for the things that match the filter. Then at the backend, we can again have, like, we'll run the same query with the filter that was provided by the front end in the request, and then apply the action that was provided by the front end. And for the undo action, I'm not sure if we can. We just have two bulk actions, right? Either we can apply the framework, or we can like remove a particular framework, right? So can we just in the undo button, can we just have like remember the previous action that we performed, and for that particular filter, and if it's the same filter, we just if it's the undo action, we just provide the same filter and the opposite action that was applied. Like if it was
well, actually this is not possible, because like you could have an action like clear remove compliance framework on the bulk items where like half of the items have like framework 1 applied and half have framework 2 applied. So it is not possible. So as we decided in discussion, we will have, as a result of no matter GraphQL mutation, REST API, we will return some very lightweight response stating, hey, this project previously had this framework, and we will have it cached on front end for a short living time of undo operation. And if someone hits undo, we will issue existing mutations, or for now, or probably we will still introduce a new bulk mutation to set like, hey, let's set this project to this framework, specifying payers project compliance framework payers. So this is how it will be done. And I see like not big difference between using REST here and GraphQL. And that's why I prefer to stick to GraphQL, just because we already are using GraphQL. It's the only reason.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I can understand. Like, at least integrating that on the front end would be much easier, since you already have the GraphQL on the client side. That's fine then. Then I think it's still on this, like, we're still on the same page where we need to decide the mutation for applying the filters, and then the response of that mutation, and which front end would be using.
Yeah, like I mentioned in issue, I'm working on that, and I will come in proposal somewhere this week.
Okay, thanks.
So I have a question here. For the first mutation, when we are trying to apply the filters, why can't we just pass the project IDs which we display on the front end and the user has selected those projects?
This is how it works now, but we could have projects which match filters, but are on the next pages, which are not yet loaded on frontend. So frontend simply knows nothing about them. That's why we can't.
So Harshima, what we're actually trying to implement is like if I've added this particular filter, I can even the select all buttons only allows me to select only 20 projects because these are the things that are listed there. But what we want from this particular feature is to be able to select all the projects. Like it could be 100 projects that are matching this particular filter. So I want to apply the bulk action to all the 100 projects. And how front end works is like they only know this information for these particular 20 products. When I click the next button, it will hit another GraphQL query, which fetches the next set of records, like the next 20 projects. So now it will know the next 20 projects. So in a way, front end is not aware of anything.
Okay. So for apart from caching this result at backend, I don't think there is any other solution which can apply the same filters.
Not at the backend. We'll have to cache the result at the front end because like this is the filter that.
Why on the front end and not on the back end? Can't we just pass a ID and cache the result corresponding to that ID, and then front end can hit the same request passing the same ID, and we can fetch the result from cache and probably update the projects.
That makes more sense.
There is the same problem that Gmail also faces while marking
Applying the filters.
while marking a lot of emails, unread emails to be read. So they are doing the solution that we are providing right now, that you need to do it in batches of 50, 50, 50. You can't do it for all. So I think rather than disturbing this, we should create some another option for bulk update rather than, because there's UX wise, there's more intuitive that it will mark these 20, not all.
I correlated this with the Gmail filters action where if you create a new filter, it will say like this. Camille, can you please mute yourself?
Yeah, like what I meant, like I think if you go to refresh issue, I just quickly post a comment at the bottom. If you refresh it, yeah, like there is a screenshot I put it there. I think that's the pattern you mentioned. Yeah, like currently, if we have checkbox for user, they understand it to select everything on this page. If we select more, we need to have an additional button there, like kind of indicate select everything, and then we select it. Otherwise, it's unclear. And I checked like other lists in GitLab, when they select the checkbox on the top, there's only select everything in the page, not everything. That's what we do now in GitLab. If we want to provide the feature, I think we need an additional small button there. Like what highlighted in the red box is quite similar, but we need to place it in a like different area somewhere in our page.
Yeah, probably that makes more sense. It would be more intuitive on the UI. But I like Harsimar's idea of like if you're going ahead with this feature, then I like Harsimar's idea of probably caching the result at the backend and providing like having a unique GraphQL. What do we call it? The unique code that we send for each GraphQL request, and preserve that particular like cache that request ID at the front end, and then for the undo, we just send the request ID again, so that we don't have to cache a lot of data at the front end. Ilya, will that work?
I need to check. I like there are too many things to consider, and I really appreciate if we log this in a synchronous way into the issue, so we have like this discussion captured. This might work, but I need to think about it to say like if this will be viable.
Cool. So at least you have two options now to think on, and whatever is the best, we'll just go ahead with that. Thanks. So I think, Nate, do you want to review the engineering dashboard, or should I?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. I saw you were there on the dock. So since this is the first weekly of the milestone, we'll go through the compliance engineering dashboard. And our availability has been super awesome for the last couple of months, 2 months, I guess. It's been 100. That's really nice. And we have a couple of MRs with maintenance, I guess. The audit event types has maintenance labels, like all the MRs that we have in the. Probably that's the reason for the spike in MRs labeled with type maintenance. And what's the milestone? Okay, so the MR rate has also gone up, but I'm not sure if this is just for compliance or the entire engineering.
Yes. Sorry, if you go to the filters at the top and select yeah, compliance from there.
It's still gone up, so that's nice. The change is 28%.
Yeah, that's some good increase. Okay.
Yes, and it's been that way for the last 3 months. In December, it's normal to drop because of the holiday season. We have some issue with this one. Okay, just because we're not using Bamboo HR anymore, probably. Not sure. I've not taken a look at this one. We also have this one where if we have any MRs that are open for more than 60 days, or if they are community MRs, we have like 0 is false and 1 is true. So we have a community MR which is open. Probably if no one is assigned, we should just take a look into this. Okay, this is merged. This is not refreshed. Well, when was this merged? Probably just now. Yep. That's the reason. Cool. So we don't have any MRs that are that have been created for a long time. That we don't need any attention there.
I will look into those broken things as I created the dashboard.
Sure. Cool. And we have some points by Aaron in the OKR if anyone wants to go through them. Verbalize. Cool, I'll just verbalize it. So Aaron has shared this link and he says that we have 2 out of 4 remaining issues which are in review and verification. And the link is not working. Is it because I don't have access? Probably not, but can someone else open Nate, can you try opening the link that?
No, it's not working for me either. But I think it is the audit event type information cleanup. Okay, yeah, to do with this one.
Did you update the link?
Yes, now.
Okay. So, okay, he's asking why this is in dev.
Yeah, that one's on me.
Okay.
Just haven't gotten around to it anymore. Because it's lower priority than what I was working on.
Okay. So this is still on track, right? We have eyes on it.
Yeah.
Good.
Just lower down the priority list.
Okay. No problem. And the other one in dev soon to be in review. Okay. Okay, so he just shared the status out of the 4. These 2 are remaining and the rest is done. Cool. I'll stop sharing. Nathan, you have the next point in the agenda.
Yeah, just the retro issue is open and ready for any feedback that you have. So we're going to have the section retro coming up. So please fill out anything that you have in there. Any comments, feedback, be great to get it. Thank you. Is there anything else anyone wants to discuss? All right, stop the recording. All right, give a wave to the camera, everyone.